As Secretary of State, I did have the privilege, representing all of you, to go to 112 countries and cover nearly 1 million miles. It is not often that I actually meet people who have spent as much time traveling and thinking about it as I have. And so I know I'm here at the right convention. You've had a great lineup already. I looked at the program. I know that Mrs. Bush was here yesterday, and we're all very pleased that former President Bush came through his surgical procedure so well. And greetings to him. And I also want to say that it was quite a challenge when I heard that Jewel yodeled. I practiced, but it's not ready for prime time. In thinking about former President Bush, you know, my husband dealt with a similar issue in the past, and he is currently traveling in Africa along with our daughter, Chelsea. So he and I know exactly the challenges that you face as you confront something like the stent, or in my husband's case, that plus a bypass. So clearly our best wishes go out to President Bush. Now, I see this group, GBTA, as not only the buyers and sellers of travel and meetings and all that go with them, but as an industry that really helps to keep our economy moving, who helps to connect us to a rapidly changing world, who understand that in a time of increasing global interdependence, there are, as the theme of the convention says, no boundaries. Now, some people get nervous about that because it's hard to predict what's going to happen, how it's going to affect us. No boundaries seems like you're throwing off everything that you've known before. But that's not how I see it. We are inevitably, whether we wish to acknowledge it or not, interconnected and interdependent. So boundaries are dissolving. And travel is still one of the best ways that we can understand better what is happening. Now, when I was secretary, people would sometimes look at my itinerary and they would say, why in the world are you going all the way to the Cook Islands out in the middle of the Pacific? Or why would you spend time in a small West African country like Togo? No Secretary of State has ever done those kinds of trips before. Well, it turns out that I went to Cook Islands for something called the Pacific Island Forum, which, yes, indeed, no secretary had ever gone to before, but I went because a lot of those Pacific Island nations have been strong friends and allies of the United States since World War II. They have been people who have voted with us in the United Nations, and they have been, in many instances, the home countries from which Americans came. And it still is true that a lot of our South Pacific friends are represented in our military at a disproportionate rate. So going there to say, we respect you, we know what you've been doing, and we know you face a lot of economic and climate change challenges, so I want to demonstrate on behalf